Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, guys. This video actually is to start with mySQL. If we want to use mySQL and mySQL bench work, so here is the page to download the mySQL. We can go to this link, then we go to the mySQL installer for Windows. Then after that we click on download. We download this installer, Windows 8632, or I think this is the only one that they have as an installer. If you want to make it for 64, you have to build it your own. So here we better go and download the 32 bits. Download from here. The file is not that big, it's 393 megabyte. Then after that we can also download the mySQL workbench as a standalone also. Let us now go to the pre-downloaded files. So here is the installer for mySQL Community version 8. Community is the free version of the mySQL. Okay. Make sure that you don't have any previous installation of mySQL on the same machine. If you have to either remove the first one, or maybe I don't know what to do with that, but it's better to make it only one instance at a time. Okay, we have to accept this agreement. Then here, if we want to install using developer default, this will install the following softwares, but I prefer to go custom here, or maybe full. It depends on you. So the first thing, we select custom here to understand what we have installed, and we go to the mySQL servers. Go here and select this. We install the the engine of the Microsoft mySQL server. Then we go to the applications. We select the benchmark. The benchmark actually is the tool that is used to control and manage the mySQL. Okay, this is the minimum thing that you have to install as a developer. For the execution or for the deployment, you can install only Microsoft SQL Server only. No need to install the workbench. Okay. Also, we may install the connectors. If let's say we want to use ODBC to connect with our application, we have to maybe to select this. And also, if we want to connect with C++, we can also use this. Install it. For our case, we don't want it. If we want to work with .NET, actually I'm going to install it because I want to connect it with the .NET, but for your case it's up to you. And also here, if you want to work on Python, we can see whatever here we have and we can install. I think this thing is not available, has failing requirements, is not installed. Okay, because Python is not installed on this machine, that's why we cannot install. Okay, that's all for the documentation. If you want to install also the documentation, samples, or anything, you can select whatever. Then after that, you just click next. Here we have 4 things to be installed, ready to install. Just execute. If we want to see details, we can click on this button. We can see what is going behind. mySQL is very simple, very easy to install, very light also on the machine, especially if you are using laptop. It's easier to install mySQL than to install Oracle Express. And also the good thing is that mySQL also using the same BL-SQL as the Oracle. So we can use this mySQL for our course SSK 3408 as well. And the good news that I just told from Dr. Iskandar is that in the database lab we already have MySQL pre-installed on all machines, so we can use them directly without any installation, without any headache. Okay, here we are. We already done this part. Next, so we have MySQL Server 8017 ready to configure. We just click next. Then here we will be asked for the availability. Now we have to select either to install as a standalone MySQL server or as InnoDB cluster. So InnoDB cluster is a combination of is a group of machines connected together to perform or to play as a one database server. But in our case, we want to use it for our laptop or maybe for our lab machine. So in that case, we have to select standalone, and we click next. Here is the configuration, configuration type, development computer, server computer, dedicated computer. Our case is development computer. We have to keep all of this port numbers as they are. We shouldn't change unless we know how to change and how we deal with it in future. Okay, otherwise we keep it as it is. Then for this, if we want to enable, we can enable the named pipe, shared memory, and so on. For this show advanced and login options, we can also select this if we need, but I prefer to keep it as it is. And here, authentication mode, this mode is recommended. So in MySQL 8 supports a new authentication based on improved, stronger SHA-256 based password methods. It's recommended that all new MySQL Server installation use this method going forward. For legacy, I think maybe there's something here that currently MySQL connectors and community drivers which use libmysql client 8.0 support the new method. If clients and applications cannot be updated to support this new authentication method, the MySQL 8.0 server can be configured to use the legacy. So it's better to avoid any issue in future, we select the legacy authentication method. Okay, then here we will be asked to set the root password for the okay, it's weak, but I don't care because I'm using this in my personal laptop. Nobody will access it. So here we have nothing to do. If we want to create another MySQL user account, we can create it using this button. But in my case, I will continue with the root password only. Next, then here we have the configuration of the MySQL server as a Windows service. So here is the name that we will use for our database instance. So we have to remember always this name, MySQL 8.0. Start the MySQL server at the startup time. This is only to start up the MySQL automatically once we start the Windows. Otherwise, we have, if we untick this, we have to go manually to the services. Then we have to start up our MySQL server manually. I prefer to keep it as it is. If your laptop or computer is very slow, then we can untick this, and we should know how to start the service later. Then run Windows service as standard system account. Okay, keep it as a standard system account, recommended. Then we go here. We will go through all of these steps here to apply the configuration. We just execute. It takes a very short time to finish. Okay, that's all finished. And now we have this product already installed and configured successfully. Just next, Then here we will be asked if we want to start the mySQL workbench after setup. I want to start it, so finish here, and we will see the interface of the DBMS. The benchmark actually is the DBMS software. So here is our instance, our MySQL server. So we can click on this configure to see the configuration of the connection, because this one is to manage the server connections. We see that it's connected over TCP/IP. Connection name, we can write whatever here to name our connection. Then we have the localhost IP address, then also the standard port number, and this is the username password, root, and the password. We will be asked to key in the password once we click on test connection here. So our password will be entered. If I want to save, I can save. If I'm using a shared PC, I shouldn't save my password here. Okay, so here successfully made MySQL connection, so everything is fine. Successful MySQL connection was made with the parameters defined for the connection. Okay, everything is fine. We just close. So if we want to open now our database management, we just double click here on this. Then we will be asked for the password. And here we can see the DBMS tool. Okay, here we can see our instance startup and shutdown. So if you remember, when we install, we was asked to start up our MySQL server automatically with Windows or to make it manual. If we make it manual, we have to go here and we have to start up this server, because we will find it like that. We will find it now the status is running, but if we make it manual, we will see that the status is stopped as now. We just go here, click on startup and shutdown, we click start server, and we can see what is going on here behind. And here we are, the server is running, it asks for the password, then everything is fine. If for example you cannot enter to this place to start up your server, we have to you have to go to right click on the desktop, then you select manage. After that you go to the what they call it here, services and applications. We select services, then maybe display standard. We go here, we look for mySQL. MySQL now is running. So in case we install it manually, we make it manually, not automatically with the Windows. In that case, we have to come here. We will find it not running, as we can see now. So we have to right click. We have to select start. After we select start, then we can log in with the workbench, MySQL workbench. Okay. Then here, if you want to watch to monitor the performance or anything, we can go and play with this dashboard with the performance reports, performance scheme setup, and so on. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now for schemas, we have to select this tab here. Then we can see that we have only one schema. So if let's say we want to create a new schema, we have to select this, we have to write the password, key in the password again, then like that, new schema is my course, for example, or maybe I use the code of the course, SSK3408. Then here, char set correlation, default chars, I leave it all default, I just apply. Don't show this. Apply changes to object. Yeah, okay. Okay, then here we have algorithm. Review the SQL script to be applied on the database. So here create schema, blah blah blah. We just click apply, execute SQL statement, finish. Then here we can see our schema. and here is our tables. Okay, we cannot see anything here because we don't have any table yet. If let's say we want to create a table, we have to select this, create a new table. For example, a default schema must be set by double clicking its name in the schema list. Okay, double click to make it bold here. Then after that we can create table. We can write the table name, for example country. Then here we have to engine is InnoDB. Is it InnoDB? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we keep it as it is. Default comments, if we have any comments, then here we will see our columns. Okay, we can write the column name here, ID, then the type is integer, primary key, not null, unique for sure because it's primary key. Then here is binary column, no, unsigned. If it's unsigned, we can tick it. 0, fill up values for that column with zeros for default values, but I don't want it. So here auto increment, yes, auto increment, and here generated column. If I want to make it generated column, default expression here if we have any expression. And later we can go and change this column name to name varchar 45. If we want, for example, to make it 50, we can make it 50. And here for the short name, we can use this. We can make it 3 only. So for the country name and the short name, they must be unique, as I mentioned before. Okay, then here we can go to the indexes. We can make index with the name, we can make index with the short name, we can do whatever. Then after that, if we have foreign key, we can make it, triggers, partitioning options, and so on. After we finish, we just click apply. So here is the command that we will run now. If we click apply, this command will be run on the SQL, on the mySQL, and the table will be created. Here we can see the table, columns, ID, name, short name. Okay. So this is the benchmark and how it works. I hope this is clear. I think it's better for us to use the mySQL instead of using Oracle because time is very short. Students have a lot of courses and they have a lot of commitments, assignments, projects. So we have to take care of their times, and we suggest them to use mySQL is better than Oracle. This is my opinion, at least. Okay, hopefully Dr. Iskander can suggest anything about this. And okay, thank you for watching, and see you inshallah soon. Thank you.